Next up, we have calcium absorption, osteoporosis, and all the videos on YouTube that are just ridiculous. The ones that you see on YouTube that you know are ridiculous, and they say stuff like, if you take calcium, you're guaranteed osteoporosis. Or if you take calcium, you're guaranteed to have weaker bones. And there I bring in Dr. Whiting, the expert, because these videos, they say that taking calcium supplements do all these things, and that the bones are made of minerals, not calcium by itself. Is that correct?
Yes and no. First of all, calcium is the main mineral that makes up bone tissue. But is it the only one? No. When these people say that taking calcium causes bone loss, that's nonsense, first of all. But they're correct in saying that taking calcium alone is not an optimal solution. Yeah. That is true, because all nutrients work together, especially minerals. And there are a host of minerals that help support absorption of calcium. See, calcium is the most difficult mineral for the human body to absorb, especially after the age of 40 or 50. And we need all the help we can get, basically. So we're looking at magnesium, manganese, copper, zinc as the main trace minerals supportive. Think of them as wheels on a little wagon that are transporting the calcium back to bone tissue. And one of the minerals that they never talk about on these videos is the trace mineral strontium. Clinically, strontium has been shown to increase calcium absorption and improve bone loss by as much as 10-fold. The secret to strontium, which we discovered a few years ago, is that, oddly enough, it has to be taken at a different time of the day from the calcium. So if you got a calcium supplement with strontium in it, unless it is enteric coated, it's probably not the best result. And granted, for years we had no idea about this, but nutrition is an evolving science, and we learn things all the time. And not that it was bad, but it wasn't as effective. So now we recommend for people with more serious bone loss situations to take a strontium supplement at a different time of the day from the rest of their mineral supplements. And it works quite well.
So with that, all the minerals are strontium, boron, chromium, iron, manganese, magnesium, silica, sulfur, selenium, potassium, phosphorus, and zinc are what make up the bones, right?
That and other trace minerals as well.
Okay.
Yes.
So discuss the phosphorus part for the people watching.
All right. Phosphorus is calcium's opposite.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought magnesium was.
Well, magnesium works in conjunction.
Okay.
But chemically, phosphorus is an opposite to calcium. So what that means is that, and phosphorus is a more powerful electromagnetic mineral than calcium. Calcium is relatively weak. So when you have a high phosphorus diet, it tends to displace or remove calcium from the body. And phosphorus can be found in protein foods, but most especially here in, well, not just here anymore, but around the world now, phosphorus is found in mega doses in soft drinks.
Oh, okay.
Especially colas.
And what does that do for the soda?
It preserves it, it stabilizes it, and it displaces all the calcium out of your bones. You can find it on a label. They're not hiding it.
Yeah.
It's called phosphoric acid.
Phosphoric acid, okay.
And that phosphorus, when if you have an occasional soda, and by the way, phosphoric acid is primarily in cola beverages, not in other flavors or brands. It's in
Oh,
colas.
okay.
And if you have one now and then, it's all right. But you have to keep in mind that there are millions of people who live off of those things all day long.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether it's the full leaded version or the diet version. They both still contain phosphoric acid. So from that point of view, one is not better than the other. But I mean, I've counseled people over the years who routinely consume 6 or 8 of those cans of soda every day. And they wonder why they have brittle bone problems. Huh. Well, it's not a mystery.
Wow. So what various factors can enhance calcium?
Well, first of all, you want to take the right form of calcium. Keep in mind that all calcium begins as calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is the base form of calcium. It's found in rocks and shells and eggshells and seashells and cliffs of Dover and all kinds of places. And it is extremely hard to absorb after the age of 45 or 50. So we have to play some chemical magic. And that magic, the first thing, is acidifying the calcium.
Yeah. Remember
that minerals absorb in an acid, not an alkaline. And so we use a process called chelation. And chelation means to bind. So what we are doing is we're binding that calcium carbonate with an acid. Citric acid, ascorbic acid, malic acid,
and that's going to help
amino
the absorption.
Acid, and that's going to drive the absorption potential up many, many times. So that's the first thing we have to do. Second thing we have to do is to make sure that the calcium is properly broken down. In other words, it's not chunky. We want to get that calcium as fine a powder as we possibly can. And ideally, we would like to get it to the colloidal size or state, because colloids are so small that they can pass through cell membranes, which is why a plant-based trace mineral supplement that provides all 60 known trace minerals for the human body is highly acidic. It's got a pH of usually 4 on the scale, and it is also in a colloidal form. So in other words, the particles are so small, they do not have to be broken down. Once they enter the exterior fluids of the body around cells, they can pass through the cell membrane without any further assistance, which is nice.
Well, that's amazing, and that's a little bit deeper than our other video about absorption, so that was some good information. Another one that I wanted to talk about was a product that I see that you might have seen this. If you're researching calcium on the internet and you're on YouTube, you've probably seen this. They talk about a product called Wild Yam Cream to boost progesterone, in turn strengthening bones. What are your thoughts on that?
Increasing progesterone has proven to be a very viable factor in maintaining bone integrity. There's no doubt about that. However, the so-called wild yam creams, they were a big hit 10 years ago.
Yeah.
People were smearing that stuff all over them. And unfortunately, wild yam cream contains no progesterone whatsoever. And it may stimulate progesterone production, but not very effectively. Today we know that the best thing to use is progesterone cream, which is relatively widely available without a prescription. And you apply pure progesterone cream and you're going to get the benefit that the wild yam cream makers say you'll get, but you won't.
And then lastly, I think that everyone already knows that strength training and keeping your body moving for your bones is always a right thing to do, because that's what's going to help them stay strong.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Resistance exercise. pushing against resistance.
Yeah.
So weight training, strength training using your own body weight, especially of the legs and arms, because the long bones respond to resistance, and that resistance makes them thicker and stronger. So resistance exercise has long been proven to be vitally important in maintaining bone density integrity.